Okay, welcome back to Hardware Phonk with Mr. Fix. It's been a minute since we had a video, and it seems like everybody who's found the page has had a question about the DR-660. So that's what we're going to do, is look at the DR-660 and look at all the stuff and hopefully answer all the questions and help you to build a song with the DR-660.
Okay, so the first thing, and you should probably do this if you buy one too, because who knows, it's probably used. I'm sure it's used if you get one. I mean, they don't make these anymore, so it's got whatever way somebody left it is the way that it is. So you gotta go over here, you hit utility, and you just kind of go through the different settings here until you get to initiate all or initialize all, and that just puts it back to factory default. So everything's set back. All the drum sets are set back the way that they were when it was brand new. That's what you want. And I mean, not if you already got shit on it, but you know. So I got a question about using the slap bass or making the pitched stuff. So the easiest way, if you're going to use the Dr. Rhythm for every part of a song, the easiest way to do that is to select the drum set. You got your drum sets and your wheel. Another thing is saving and having it not reset on you. So the first few drum sets, I don't know, maybe 10, I think it's the first 10 or so, you can't save over them. No matter what, you can't save over them. So past that, you can make changes, and then as long as you have, record selected down here, where am I? There. As long as you have record selected, it'll save what you've done. If you want the Dr. Rhythm to do everything, I would pick the main drum set as whatever bass, slap bass or synth bass. So let's use the synth bass here. And you can make changes to this one. It's up there in the 20s. I don't know. The synth bass is never really it's not low enough, I think. So as long as you hit record down here, you go to pad, assign. Are you sure? We just hit next because we don't want that. And so here we got pitch. So I would change these. And this is also how you make your own kit with melodies, is you just go in and change, you'd pick the same pad for everyone, and I just change the pitch around here. So make it a little lower. Mess around with those, edit as many as you want. And then what you're going to want to do is hit the pad bank. And so this is pad bank B. So these are other sounds, and you can switch between them. And you can do this with whichever drum set you click on is going to have a pad bank B. Some of them, they use combined sounds. You can do that too if you want. But basically, you're just trying to get it where you got the bass on one track or on one bank, and then all your drum sounds on the other. Let's pick out some drum sounds here. We hit pad. You want to go all the way back to the beginning to this one where it said assign, sure, and you hit enter. Yes, you're sure. So that's the 909 hard kick. That's a pretty good kick right there. I would say if you're trying to do the DJ squeaky sound, I don't use the 808 kick, I use the 909. And then I mess with it a bit. So you could do the 808 snare, and the reason going to do the same thing, edit the pitch and the decay on some of these. That's why it's maybe hard to match some of the Memphis rap snare sounds, is because a lot of them is just random. You just assign a random pitch, whatever sounds good, pitch it down, cut the tail off a little bit. This one still has the reverb on it. So we got that. I mean, we got plenty of pads. You're not going to use all these. Maybe you will, but I never do. Let's change this to one of my favorite sounds that this thing has. So you got a few different snares that you might recognize. That's one. Sound that's on a lot of the old ICP records.
Oh, you never guess what's up. My marking head blew up.
Weird snares on here. Now that is a Tommy Wright sound for sure. .808 hi-hat open and close. Some of those records, I think they actually use the 7/8. I don't know. I think it's the rolling something else. All right, let's edit some. Pitch that down. Make the decay even shorter. Yeah, I don't really want the reverb on it. Pitch that one down. And shorten it. Take the nuance all the way out. So you got all those sounds. You got a bass too. So on the same patterns, you can write your bass part and your drum part. And then if you're quick, you can go in and turn the volume down. You know, if you want to drop out certain stuff, mix it that way live on the DR. We're going to make a pattern. So hit pattern. It's pattern and song. It switches between the two. So you want it till you see P00, and it's got all these preset patterns. You just got to scroll through them every time, and your patterns start at 100. And I don't know how many you get. I think I made like 8 or 9 songs before I maxed out the memory here. This is where you can set like the length and stuff like that. So you hit record, and then it pops up with this little guy. And so what it's set to right now is 16th note, and then so you scroll up, which is kind of counterintuitive, and it's different on the DR5. So, but boom, boom, there. Now that's quarter notes, and then you can go to thirds, whole notes, all the way up through the spectrum of notes, 30-second notes. So also depending on what you select here is what it's going to quantize to. But also it will make it sets your roll. So if you set to, you want to do eighth notes for the beat, but you want the fast hi-hat, then you switch the quantization after you record whatever, and then you do some rolls with the hi-hat, and it'll be 16th notes. And then also, if you arrow over, you can set the length, which is also kind of the time signature. So you can do whatever. You could do like 7 notes here. Just go up to, I usually go to 16, like 16 or 32. So it's a little bit longer. It doesn't feel too much like a machine that way. So let's do a 16. So go to 8th notes. And so there, you get a click track because you're still in record mode. And we hit tempo. I don't know, 145. Let's do 145. We haven't selected the drum set for this pattern, so while we're on record, and after we've already selected everything about the pattern, we hit drum set again, and then that's when you want to go to your synth bass. And now it'll stick around when you hit record. So we got our bass. So now we want to go to pad bank. Hit the pad bank button. Let me get our drum set. So let's do some shit here. Record again. Without even having to do anything, because once you hit record, it stays here. We're going to switch the quantization up to 16th notes. We hold down the roll button. hi-hat, it does a roll, so that's how you do your fast trap hi-hats. We just stuck with the Memphis 16th here, but you can go up to 32nd or 48th note and make it sound crazy as fuck, just like a trap song. And we got our bass, just a little bit loud. Let's adjust that. Pad bank, hit it twice, because it's 1, 2, and both. So now we're back to 1, and we want to turn those pads down. Okay, so you wrote this pattern, but you wrote the kick last, and you fucked the kick up, or whatever, you fucked something up. You like the whole thing. So, we're going to hit record here, get the pattern going, and this is your kick. So what you're going to do is hold down delete, and then select the kick at the same time, and just hold them down through the whole pattern. And you do that for whatever. This is also handy if you want to make a lot of patterns that are similar, but you want like a different kick sound, or a different kick pattern, everything else the same basically. So what you could do is, while it's nice and deleted here, it doesn't have the kick, you have everything else. Say you want different kick, same everything else. Now you can hit copy, and then it'll ask you like 100 to blinking 100, so you don't want to copy it to itself. But yeah, we'll do 100 to 101, and then hit enter. Sure? Yeah, we're sure. So now we're going to do it again and copy it to 102. So now we've got that same pattern twice. Well, 3 times actually. If you scroll through, it'll play the next pattern next. So it's the same. So now we can go through and just write different kicks. Alright, got a kick there. Go up to 101. And so on. Okay. So that's one way to make a lot of patterns really fast. And, you can go through live and do it like that, just switching mid-pattern, and it'll go to the next pattern. And that's a really easy way if you're mixing live to do stuff. Or you can actually build songs. So you hit the pattern song button again, and now we're in song 0. If you hit record here, it gives you different options. And if you arrow left, which is also kind of counterintuitive, that's how you find, you arrow left twice and you get to CHN, and it's always set to off on an unused song. And so that's the song chain. That's how you get it to keep playing. It starts it off, and then it goes back from 99. It's easier just to punch in 00 and then enter. And that chains it to itself, and then it'll just keep playing. But this is a way to build a lot of shit with subtle variations. Is you could make a song that's slightly different arrangement of patterns, and then chain that to this one, and then chain that one back to itself, and just have it keep going, and just make endless chains of subtle pattern variations. For the purpose of this little demo, we're just going to chain it to itself so it keeps going. It doesn't just play like whatever you do. You don't have to punch in a pattern like a bunch of times and then just keep doing that. You punch it in 4 times and it just keeps going. Some drum machines have like when you're writing the songs, they give you a little like music notation repeat. This one does not, so that's how you get around it in here. So we got it chained to itself. Whatever little 4-bar loop we write in here will just keep going. You actually have to hit stop to get out of here, and then we want to hit this button up here that's step and reel. And I don't really write patterns in step mode. I feel like that's if you're the type of person who likes to click note by note through a drum pattern, maybe that's for you. It's basically the early version of that. I like to write melodies and rhythms on the fly, so I usually use real mode. But songs, I don't really even understand how to use this thing to write songs in real mode. So now it's in step mode. Hit record again. So now it gives you the option of writing a song based on your patterns. So part 1, yeah, that's what we want. And then part 2, once you hit enter, we're going to use the wheel to go up to 101. So that's our song, is those 2 parts. So you hit stop to get out of it, and now if you hit play, it just plays those 2 patterns over and over because we've chained it to itself. Also, it's a little slow. You can still change the tempo whenever you want. I like that a lot better. So that's the basics of building a song here. Other common problems I'm betting people are running into are MIDI. So as you can see, I've got it plugged in. I've got something going into the MIDI in. So MIDI is kind of outdated and confusing, I would say, but if you want to use old shit, you kind of have to understand it a little, and once you do, it makes everything so much easier, like recording into your computer. So there's a MIDI button usually, and this goes for most old drum machines. This one's a little weird, so but it's still got most of the same things. So it starts with this, which I don't understand. It says note, and then sure. I think this is like if you wanted to assign MIDI notes to stuff, but I don't know. I just hit next, and then MIDI channel. So this is what might make a difference. Whatever you use for your computer, you need to use this, and you can usually pick just one. Just pick 1 or 2, or I don't know, whatever. But if you use something like the microKORG, you have to make a MIDI channel in your digital audio workstation, like a MIDI out, and then it's set to 16 for some reason. So whatever you're using as a MIDI controller with your digital audio workstation, you set the number on here to that, and then it'll once you go forward again and it says sync and then INT, so that's the synchronization. So that's what's telling the machine to start, and so what's telling it now is an internal mechanism. But if you go up one on the wheel, it says MIDI. So whatever you have as your MIDI controller will now tell this to start. So if you have it going into like an interface or a mixing board, however you're getting it into your computer, you hit record, and your computer or your MIDI controller will tell this thing to start. And that's a lot better for timing purposes than trying to start it when your computer starts and then like deleting the silence. It's a lot more efficient, and that's also how you would get a lot of things going at once. Is you would probably end up having this be controlled by something else, because the DR-660, I don't know, there's some weird stuff with having it be the master MIDI controller. But that's so you also have to remember to go in here if you're gonna do that, and go back to internal when you're writing shit, because otherwise it needs your computer to tell it to start every single time, which I guess you can write patterns that way if you want to. And some other pads that you're probably interested in hearing. That's when people probably know. That's a reverse castanet. I have no idea why they even made some of these sounds, but that's a DJ sound, classic sound. Classic. You also have the 808 conga. Now this doesn't sound like much right now, but if we go and we edit it a bit, we're going to go way, way up with the pitch. All the way up. So you can go up as high as 2400. Which is basically, I think it's like 2 octaves up. I don't know. Go about there. Then it starts to sound familiar. You drag out the decay. Maybe not that far. There's another one that gets used a lot. The vibra slap. So then as far as outputs, that one we'll go these two all the way to individual. Say you want this out of individual 1. Okay, so we're going to hit reverb. You want to hit over, and that changes it to individual 1. So now that one's coming out of individual 1, but not all the way. See how it says only 5, so we can go up to 9. And then also, if you're using both, you want to hit chorus, and that's your second effect. It's default to chorus. Go down here, do the same thing, hit over. Now it's individual 2. So this one was coming out of individual 1. You want to make sure that it's not also coming out of individual 2. This one we want going all the way 9 to individual 2, and then we're going to hit reverb again, go back to individual 1. See, it's coming out 5. So we want to put that down to 0. Now these ones have their own individual channels. I don't have them plugged in, so that's why you don't hear them.
So hopefully that is helpful for you with your Dr. Rhythm beat making. That is the DR-660 deep dive. But if you make a beat with your Dr. Rhythm, you have to send it to me because I want to hear more Dr. Rhythm beats. Thanks.